And is Dame time over in Portland? It really might be, man. Chris Haynes reported yesterday that there's now kind of a rift that Dame might request a trade after the hiring of Chauncey Billups and just the inability for the Trailblazers to build a winning team around Damian Lillard. So I'm kind of just interested in possible landing spots for Dame. So I want to just talk about, the potential of Damian Lillard, one of the biggest names in the league, one of the best point guards in the game, potentially being on the move this offseason. Let's talk about it, man. It's Freak Knows Hoops. I'm your host, Tyreek. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you are new. It's a place where we talk about NBA basketball, so if you love hoops, this is the place for you. And yeah, Chris Haynes reported that yesterday. Chauncey Billups officially got a 5-year contract with the Portland Trailblazers, and Haynes reported that Dame is, I guess, not happy with that decision, and also, like I mentioned, just the inability for Portland to put a winning team, a championship team around Damian Lillard. And it's kind of unfortunate because Dame is one of the most loyal players in the NBA. Like, we know this. He said he wants to be in Portland for as long as he can be there. He's been one of the best Blazers of all time, if you ask me. And he's had just some memorable performances in the playoffs. I mean, just this past postseason, this postseason currently, he had a 55-point game, one of the best shooting performances that we've seen in the postseason. And now it might be time for him to look out for himself, look out for his career, and move on to a different situation, man, because personally, I don't know if Portland is going to be able to build a winning team around Dame. They've kind of got themselves in a weird spot. They don't really have a lot of young assets that they can trade, or really a lot of trade pieces in general. They don't really have a ton of draft capital. Their young players are guys that you might want to take a chance. Are those pieces good enough to try and convince Dame that you're trying to build a winning situation around him? Those are things that we don't know. It's like we mentioned, like they're one of the teams that has a very important offseason ahead of them, and it starts right now because Dame, if he's really not happy, then this is big for the Trailblazers. This indicates whether you're trying to still be all in and be a contending team, or if it's time to hit the reset button. So the decision that they have to make with Dame, or whether Dame walks into the front office and says, I want out, it's going to be big for the Trailblazer squad. But let's talk about some possible landing spots. I like putting the GM cap on, even though I'm far from a GM, will never be a general manager in the NBA. But it's fun to think of places where Damian Lillard will be good at. And I'm going to start this off by saying, I don't want to see any Lakers stuff. Bro. They don't have anything to offer the Portland Trailblazers that would even make them want to pick up the phone. Because you're not offering Anthony Davis. You're not giving up LeBron. Those are really all the pieces you have. Those are the only pieces that you have. KCP, Caruso, and some picks. That's not going to get it done. Like, I'm sick of seeing this on social media. It's not going to get it done. Let's talk about some realistic landing spots for Damian Lillard. And I want to start with a team that is also potentially looking to ship a point guard away, and that is the Philadelphia 76ers. They've pretty much been linked, since the Sixers season ended, and everybody assumes Ben Simmons will no longer be a Philadelphia 76er, and it makes a lot of sense to me. It makes a lot of sense because I still believe in Ben Simmons. I believe Ben Simmons, with the right team put around him, can be an all-NBA player once again. I really do believe that, and a perennial all-star every year. And I think it would be good for both sides. For Portland, you get to hit the reset, but you also get, a star, somebody that can potentially be a star. I don't want to give up on Ben Simmons yet. He's only 24 years old, and he's somebody that can potentially still be a star player in this league. He's been all-NBA already. It's just about unlocking the next element to his game and elevating his game to a new level. And with the team built around him, he could potentially do that in Portland. I can definitely see that. Get some draft capital back from Philly. Maybe Tyrese Maxey, maybe Shake Milton, who knows? Get it, another good young player back. And then you can start your rebuild, the right way. You have a building block right there in Ben Simmons, potentially Tyrese Maxey, Shake Milton, whoever. And then for Philly, you get a killer. You get the killer guy that you need, the shot-making leader. You get all that in Damian Lillard. You get all that in Dame, and it can potentially elevate you from being, a second-round team every year to getting to that conference finals, to getting to the NBA finals. And that could be a big piece for Philly if they could potentially pull off that trade. I think that is maybe the most realistic spot, in my opinion, because I think getting Ben Simmons back is very convincing to me. That would be very convincing. Like, if if I was going to trade Dame, I think getting Ben Simmons is probably the most that you can get back from a team, unless potentially the Boston Celtics pick up the phone and they want to offer Jaylen Brown. That's really the only other team that I think is super comparable in a way that you get an all-star caliber player back. If you offer Jaylen Brown, if you're the Boston Celtics, that could entice the Portland Trailblazers to pull the trigger on that trade. And then you're looking at, you do lose, of course, a wing all-star player in Jaylen Brown, who's been sensational, improved every single season. But you get back Dame. You get back the point guard. You lost Kemba. Well, not lost Kemba. You traded Kemba away. So now you get a bona fide superstar point guard in Damian Lillard. You still have Jason Tatum, of course, who's showing that he's going to be a superstar in this league. You pair him with Marcus Smart. You still have Al Horford. You still got maybe some room to bring in some pieces in the offseason. That could be a very intriguing situation to see Damian Lillard in. Not saying that just because I'm a Celtics fan. I do think that is a realistic situation. And Brad Stevens has already shown that he's not afraid to make moves. He's not afraid to shake up this roster a little bit. And he knows what needs to be fixed with this roster because he coached these guys. So it could be a possible landing spot for Dame. Definitely something to keep an eye on. And we're staying in the Eastern Conference once again. Same division too. I think the Knicks is a viable situation. I really do think the Knicks is a viable situation for Dame. First off, the Knicks are back to playing good basketball. Playoffs aside, the best story of the season, and just them making the playoffs was a big-time W. Big-time W for all Knicks fans everywhere. And I think it's good for this team to show that, you know, we're not a laughingstock anymore. We are a competitive team, and we're a piece or two away from being super, super competitive in the Eastern Conference. And adding Dame will be a very good step into that direction. I really do believe that. Now, I don't know possible package that you would have to give up. I don't know what the salary cap situation will look like, but you're probably centering it around like guys like, you know, giving up maybe some young guys like Quickly, Obi Toppin. If Portland gets a little greedy, they might ask for RJ Barrett too, or RJ and one of those two players between Toppin and Quickly, and draft capital. You got picks. You got picks from Dallas. You got your own draft picks. You probably have enough to put together a very good trade package to potentially get Damian Lillard away from Portland. And if I was Portland, I would definitely want RJ Barrett back too. I would certainly want RJ Barrett back. But I still think, you know, a very good trade package that the Knicks can offer. I think the picks will be the most important part in that deal. And I know the Knicks have a lot of cap space in this offseason, but then you'll get to pair Dame with Julius Randle. If you can keep RJ Barrett, that would be great. If not, you know, keep Derrick Rose to bring him off the bench. You can still have a very viable team with still room to maneuver in free agency. I think the Knicks is low-key a very good situation. I've also seen places like Miami potentially being a good place. It depends if Miami is bought in on like Tyler Hero, draft capital, maybe Precious Achiuwa, maybe Kendrick Nunn too. It depends on how bought in they are to that. And then I seen something too. The Denver Nuggets was kind of an intriguing one. I've been seeing floating around on like social media. Denver has the assets to throw at them. They got Michael Porter Jr. if you want to give him up. They got, you know, Bo is an intriguing piece that you can potentially throw in there. Will Barton and maybe some draft picks too. That could be a trade that could be very enticing for the Trailblazers too. What I'm trying to say is Portland has options. If Dame walks into the office tomorrow and says, I want out, trade me, they got options. And I know they love Damian Lillard, but you don't have to trade him to where he wants to go. You do what's best for your roster. And personally, as somebody that's a big fan of Damian Lillard, I would like to see him in just a situation that they put a team around him that is capable of being a championship team. And I think Philly, I think Boston are probably two of the most viable options. I would say Philly should be the front runner because I think that is a championship caliber team that just needs that finishing piece. They just need, like Joel Embiid is an MVP caliber player, but he needs that guard. Kind of like Jamal Murray is to Nikola Jokic. Dame could be that to Joel Embiid. And I think that would be where I would want Ben Simmons to go. I think it could be a win-win trade for both sides. Like I mentioned, Portland will get Ben Simmons back, who I'm still not done with Ben Simmons. I still think he can be a very good player in the NBA. He still is a very good player, but I think he still has another level to get to, obviously. And for Portland, obviously, for Philly, you get Dame. And that could be the piece that puts you in the promised land. Yeah, let me know what y'all think, though. I like drawing up fake trade ideas. I mean, who knows? Dame might still be in Portland next season. We never know. But if the reports are true that Chris Haynes said, man, might be some unhappy people in Rip City, man. But let me know what y'all think. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you are new, and if you enjoy this kind of content, because I'm here pretty much every day. So I appreciate y'all. I'm out.